many are full-time Bible workers, evangelists, colporteurs? Full-time, one. All right, I'm only seeing one hand. All right. How many have normal jobs, vocations? Raise your hands. Normal jobs, vocations, or you're at school or anything like that? No, don't say everyone. Raise your hand. All right, so there are others who are not, they are not workers, they are not in any secular vocation, they are just existing. I think you need to talk to Dr. Moemba for that one. I'm not going to be able to help you. All right, so that you can start happening. All right. Now, the reason why I'm asking this question is very simple. Daniel did not work for God as a pastor. Daniel did not work for God as an evangelist, in the classical sense of an evangelist. We hear nothing about Daniel doing an evangelistic crusade or campaign. Am I making sense? Yes. But Daniel was a witness in Babylon. One of the reasons why, actually, by the way, God sent the children of Israel to Babylon, besides as a punishment for their idolatry, and besides it being the last remedy that God was going to try in order to cure them from their idolatry. Because in the book of 2 Chronicles, in chapter 36, it says God tried to send prophets, it didn't work. He tried to send others, it didn't work. He says, until there was no more remedy. So the captivity was God's last try. So let me try one more time. Just this one. Sometimes God tries to appeal to us using milder measures. And we don't listen. And then God has to use much more severe measures to get our attention. But that's not where I am. But besides those reasons, one of the reasons why God allowed the captivity was so that the children of Israel could do in captivity what they failed to do in freedom. Am I making sense? Yeah. Let me give you an example. King Hezekiah, God cures him of his sickness, right? He cures him of his boil. And after God cures King Hezekiah, God makes sure that he gives a sign which would catch the attention of the next world empire. Now, God knows the future, so he's trying to prepare his people for the future. So the Babylonians see the sign in the sun, this phenomena of the sun going back on the sun dial. And of course, the Babylonians, who were known for their studying of the heavenly bodies, they see this thing happening. God knew why he was doing that. The Chaldeans see it. Then Merodach Baladan sends his ambassadors to Babylon, to Jerusalem, to inquire what happened. Because it seems like things were already going around what had happened in Jerusalem. So God is giving Hezekiah a chance to witness to the next world empire before they come into power. So that when they come into power, they know about the true God. But what does Hezekiah do? He takes them on a tour of his kingdom. And he gives them ideas on what they need to plunder when they come into Jerusalem. So they failed to witness for God in their own land, when they had their own kingdom, and when they were in relative ease. Now they had to do it as slaves and as captives in a foreign land. Are we better than they? Ellen White says in Testimonies, Volume 5, the work that we have failed to do in a time of peace, we will have to do in a time of crisis and under the most discouraging circumstances. So when the president of the conference says we have a goal to double our membership, that is the least we could come up with as a conference. Does that make sense? It's not the most, it's the least. Because time is short and God has given us a time of relative peace. And if we have to be honest, friends, this relative peace is slowly but surely waning.
Yes.
There are bills that are being cooked up to shut us up so that we can't preach anymore. You know, the hate speech bill is a bill against the gospel. Yeah, because you can't preach the gospel without offending people. No way.
Yeah.
Because in order for people to appreciate the good news, they need to appreciate the bad news that they are sinners.
Yeah.
Now, if offense is against the law, you can't preach the gospel. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So these things are being cooked up to make it harder for us to witness. Now we can move around. Did you notice how hard it was to move around during COVID?
Yes.
So when they decide how we are going to move and how far we can move, it's not going to be very easy for us. So I think it's best for us to learn not to fail where Hezekiah failed, but to start witnessing for God now. Now there's something that Ellen White says in Ministry of Healing, page 469, paragraph 1.